Good day. It's time to start on the Nomad. I'm going to try to turn the camera on and off. I don't want to, well, you let us know. I'm going to try to quickly do a spot here, up top here. This is an old lead seam. So I've been picking away at it. I have a hammer somewhere on us. And I've been pounding on it. There's a thin spot, one here. So if I'm going to start off, I got to get rid of this brass. You got to get rid of all the brass if you're going to be welding. It will not weld. And then I'm going to cut out some of this, and I'm going to lay a new piece in from here, similar to what the factory did, but I'm going to flush weld it up here. Now, welding on this outside crown, it's not going to tend to warp on me as bad, but you always have to be aware of the possibility. So something else I'd like to show you that I'm not used to working around. Dig the floor. You can see it just about everywhere. This is awesome. So, kind of happy about that. Can you tell? So, also, I got a little bit of a mess still going on. I did a rough end, so every time I go back to the toolbox, I'm going to pick up one thing and put it away. So hopefully, by the end of the day, that's going to be looking a lot better. But I've got to get some work done. I've got Dad moved into his place, and he's pretty happy about that. I got a little more furniture to move. So I'm going to put my glasses on, and I'm going to start cutting this out and see what I find. Well, I will tap it first, and I'll do that again, because I want to see how bad it is. I just had my hammer. Okay. Oh, there we go. Pretty freaking solid. That's nice. That helps. So, I think I'll pick away at that with the little one so I don't inadvertently dig too deep. Oh, found my glasses. They were on my head. So let's see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, you'll find that not much sticks to brass. If you did a brass seam, after a year or two, you're going to see the paint move away from it in the right light. You know, you can look down a brand new quarter panel someone put on 2 years ago with brass, and you may start to see where the weld is, and that's really not what you want. Get a screwdriver or a hammer and see what we have here. Okay. Now you see that is attached down here. Well, I just wanted to see if it's still. Yeah, now I can hammer this back out. That's where they hammer it in and they lead this. So, continue cutting. Okay, now I may have to do a little spot blasting in here. There's areas you cannot blast at. Now this is super solid. Some people would like to dip a car. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not saying it's wrong. Whoop, there. I'm called away. So that was Lewis from Canadian Classic Auto Supply. And I'm just doing that because I like dealing with them. We're trying to get smooth inners. So these front inner panels without all those holes, right? Because the amount of time it takes to fill all those and finish it for paint, it may be cheaper to just buy smoothed out ones. So anyhow, we've got that coming. Possibly some caps for the fenders, because the way these were welded on, I mean, that works. They're lap welded. That's not what I like to do. I mean, I would like to do a little more refined job than that. So I have to decide whether to buy them or make my own. That's a bit of a difficult decision. So he's got a list of parts already. I phoned him Saturday night. It's early Monday morning, and I've already got my list. So anyhow, we're going to get back to chopping this out, cleaning that up better, making our new piece. Oh, I have to introduce another member of the crew. Princess. There's Princess. Yes. How you doing? Yeah, okay. Looks a little scruffy, losing her winter coat. All right. Yeah. Bailey named the cat Princess. She just wanted to see me go outside and go, Princess. Pretty sure that's why. Anyhow, back at it. All right. A little bit more. So the worst thing is to not go far enough. So I want to make sure that the metal is really, really solid. I do not want to be doing warranty work. Okay. Little spot of brass. I'm taking out spot welds here. Not the typical way, but that's what I'm doing right now. Alright. Yeah, definitely be some spot blast in here. Sure to be fine, but you have the opportunity, take it. Okay, I'll grind as far as that's out of it. Okay, well, finish grinding that off and then I'll show you. Just making my new piece right now. I'll show you how I did that. I'm gonna have a few more to make, but it's gotta sit down here. I'm gonna rough cut it. So I can get the fit closer. I'm not gonna cut lengthways because I want leverage to bend it over. I'm gonna do the bottom here. Rough. See how that works out. Now, we have this amazing tool. A lot of people in the focus group have asked about it. It is, I guess my part number's on the other one, so we'll look into that. Yeah, the tag is right here. JS 1602 Makita. These last, well, mine first one was 18 years. These are awesome. A little pricey, but I find it's well worth it. Here. Okay, so we're close. I can notch this up a little higher. Yeah, well, maybe not as close as I thought. Okay, we're getting there. Okay. Now it's getting down more like where I want it. I'll have to make this up a little higher. If it's close enough, I can make some marks. Like that. And again, rough cutting for now. Yes, I could make a pattern. But I won't. Okay, so what I like to do, make my panel, and then I trim the body out to fit my panel. But you can see I got this in the right place. I got to carry it on up to the top, and then I've got to curve this piece. And it might be in a pipe on the front of my workbench, or maybe the wheel. We'll see what happens. It's pretty small now. It's getting a little tougher to bend. But I'll carry on and continue doing this. I have to confess, the motor on my bead roller broke, so I have to get a little creative. I could put a cordless drill on it, or an electric drill. That would take me an hour and a half to build something so I could run it with my drill. I will do that, but right now I've got to make some progress. So I'm using a chisel, and I'm sitting this in the vise, just slightly open, and then I'm pounding down, and I'm getting that exact profile. Kind of lucked out with that. So I'm going to finish making this panel, and then I'll clean all this up and prime the back of this, and we'll carry on. All right, so now I've got my panel pretty close. Got to do a little more curvature to it, but I want to cut it out so I can fit it in flush, because it's hard to make it fit just bang on until you have the right curve. And I need the inner out of the way so that I can do that. So it still doesn't look very pretty. And you can see right here, there's a freaking pinhole there. We're going well above it. We're well into the good metal. That's important. So I'm going to use my little zip. Okay, so normally I wouldn't do a square corner like this. You end up with a lot of heat. This time I did because, well, I forgot. And I'm not making a new panel. So I'll just have to be very careful. Usually you try to do rounded corner, less heat, less stress. But you can do it either way. Yeah, let me show you this one. The back side of this metal has this pinhole down here. We went all the way up. You can see we're well into the clear metal. So that's what you do. Okay, so a little trimming. Okay, let's see if we're ballparking. Okay. Yes, you can see I'm very close. But now you can see, if the light shows it, a little bit of a harsh curve here. So now that it actually can fit inside, I gotta line that up just a hair, grind this back. But now I can dolly it over the anvil, put a dolly in the vise. I can make that smooth, clean it up, and then I can weld this in. Now here I'm a little over, I'm gonna grind it back. The detailing I end up doing with this baby. Looking pretty good, and then we'll blast. It's good to get back in the groove. I mean, I've been off working on Dad's house and a few other things for probably over a month. So, it takes a little while to get your chops back. But we will get it. Once you fall off a bicycle once, it's easier to do after that. Okay. Many similarities working here as down there, I suppose. I'm about to take off and go to the co-op and get a coffee. Here, I don't generally do that till later in the day. And every morning, that's where I go, catch up on what's going on in town. Meet a few of the locals for a quick visit. And, wow, I'm quite pleased with this. I gotta clean that up, that rustle crappy. So, anyhow, we will be back. A brief stop in the action to have a look at the new storage shed going up. We got a couple of nice tractors to look after, combine, and the boys are hard at work. So, these are the posts. They got cement in the hole, concrete. Honey's overseeing the job. Looking pretty freaking cool. There's Dad's new home. Alright, good to see. Just want to show you something. I've got one of these old ones. It usually has a pipe come down on it. I could take the whole car out and blast it. I don't want to. So, kind of put some sand in a little bucket. Let me see if this works. It does. Whew. I think I better get a mask. Well, I'm waiting for my primer to dry. I'm going to set up my zip cut, and I'm going to start cutting out around the floor. And we have to check many spots, but a little exploratory first. What you always find is where the floor supports go in underneath. Dirt and mud has a tendency to get trapped there, and that's where they're going to rot. So first I'm just going to cut a bit of a hole to see how it looks. Screwdriver. Okay, that's what I'm talking about right there. So it's pretty solid, but I am going to take some more out, but that's why we're having a look. So if I can keep the repair above this lower support, then I don't have to metal finish underneath. But we do have to clean this out, and someone's done a repair here before. I'm going to double check that, make sure it's nice. They may not have been quite thorough enough, hard to say. We're going to check that out. And also it's going to get new seat mounts because he's looking for, I forget what he said, Lexus, some other type of seat to bolt in here. But we're going to leave these holes for now. And looking at this, I think my primer's dry. Let's see if we can move in. So that is going to fit right there. As always, I'm just going to grind a hair off that because it can always be just a little bit better. Now I need to get another grinder because you lose a lot of time swapping this back and forth. I have one, but I'm just kind of excited and I don't want to go looking for it. It's good to be back in the groove, man. Okay, there, now I'm happy. And there's a happy little patch. Oh, there's one little tiny spot there. Alright, that's better. Yes, okay. Okay, it would appear I have a little bit too aggressive a curve. This is good, but the front part is in too far. Not much. I'm just going to tap that flat on the anvil. We'll be back in a minute. Okay. Welder hasn't been used in a while. Welders have personalities, really. So, we're going to see how it works. I have to play with it, but I think it's good. Oh. I forgot to put my helmet on. Jeez, and it all messed up. I went to swing it down. Where is my helmet? Okay. Now that's a mess. Came back out. Good. Oh yeah. Get one down here. Okay, what's going on? Apparently, welding helmets have a personality too. Yeah, okay, I gotta get back in the groove, definitely. Maybe. Well, I'm gonna keep trying. Okay, so, oh, that's really nice. Nope, I definitely gotta find a different helmet. This one's not working like it should. Okay, I'm getting the welder dialed in. I had to turn it down a bit. And now I'm using a little screwdriver to pull this stuff flush. Actually, when I was working for JF years ago, he was pulling panels together with a putty knife. Like, he had perfect fit, and it was such a thin gap, he used a putty knife, and it worked really, really well. Sometimes I do that. Okay, and you're just tacking it together. And I'm just closing my eyes. Okay, now I can run a little longer on here. I might have to slow down my wire. I'm getting a bit of build up there. Try to keep it as flat as you can. I'm definitely, I'm used to a different welder I've been using for the last many months. This is a great welder. I just got to get used to it, the settings, keep it clean. Okay, so I'm starting my next bead right on top of the old one, less heat. I'm going to move around. Yeah, that's going quite nicely. I've used little 110 machines, which work excellent. I happen to have, this is the bigger one, I've got a couple of these. I can do some heavier stuff without doing lots of passes, but the 110s work excellent, and it's all you probably really need for doing body work. You want it just right. Yes. I'm going to put a little tack in here, actually, so I can take the vice grips off and move them over. Again, being on a corner, I can run a bit more heat without fear of warping. Now I got a bit of a gap to fill here because that's where the original body dipped in and they filled it with lead. So I'm getting rid of that dip. We don't need that. That's great for factory assembly. So when it looks like a big gap here, that's why there is one. And we're compensating for that and getting rid of it. So if I can gently pull this in without distorting the metal, I'll do a few more. Just to hold it a little tighter. Yes. Yeah. Okay, that's nice. I don't beat myself up too much about not having the prettiest weld in the world on sheet metal. I'm just about penetrating. I'm happy with these. They still seem a little bit tall. I'm going to turn down my wire speed. The less wire you get out there, the less build. There's always that fine line. Oh, and I think we found our first vehicle we're going to go give a fella a hand with. A friend of mine, Nathan. He's got a car he just bought, and he wants to take a used panel and put it on. And I think it's a great idea. He does work at home on his own. He did a really cool paint job where he just wrapped plastic around his hoist and used that for a paint booth, and it came out really nice. So I was yakking with him, and he's got one. We're gonna wander over to his place and spend a half a day or a day. That'll be coming up over the next couple of weeks, I imagine. I'm seeing I'm a little too tight here. The weld's cool, they pull, and that's, yeah, I'm just not quite happy. I'll do a little zip in there. Tiny one. Do it at a really steep angle. There. I'm happy. Oh, okay. And I gotta wander down to Lyle's. He's got the pink Charger he's doing assembly on for Mike. We're going to do a little bit of airbrushing, just a couple of scratches under the hood. That'll be coming up soon too. Again, if this was the middle of a hood or a flat panel, I'd be doing less distance before I move on, because that would make it work. But being on a crown, we're lucky. Also, I was just talking to Patrick Angle from Tennessee. He's a fella who sent me brand new taillight lenses for the Pontiac, the 64. He's got a 57 Chevy Delivery, and we're thinking of hauling it from where he bought it, which isn't that far from here, and we'll be changing the entire roof. That'd be a fun job. So, by the way, thanks again, Patrick, for the taillight lenses. I am going to use them, but we're taking the Firebird on this trip. Right on. Cool. We're getting there. Woo. I might have missed a spot of brass. And there's sheet metal screw holes here. I don't want to fill them if I don't have to. Oh, I guess I'm blocking everything from you. Right on, right on. Let's pull this down a bit. Ah. Whew. Well, I'm gonna grind some. Yeah, I'll do that with a small one. A little detail grind in here. Doing our best to just grind on the parent metal, or sorry, the weld. So with the small grinder, I can see I'm going to go and trim this down. Okay, here we go. So when you have these old worn out little discs, you just cut them in about 6-sided, and then they really dig into the pits well. Okay, so I'm going to finish going over a few spots I want to weld better. The concerns as I weld this one is how big do I have to go to make sure that I don't have an issue down the road. So this one, I don't know, we're going to see. I am going to, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I have some big concerns over this lower edge. I mean, it's all the way down to here that we can see, so I have to tap along with a scribe, something like this. I got to make sure that there's nothing next to it that's going to be an issue like that, right? And that's not a big deal. That's why it's here. We're going to fix all this so it's solid, but got to be very careful not to miss any. So get back to you in a little bit here. Hello, Dad. I'll take a break. What are you up to?
Oh, you're getting filmed, are you?
All right, I'm looking right here. That seems real good, but there's a big chunk of steel under here. So I'm going to cut it out just a little bit more. I'm going to come down this way and over. I mean, it all looks really good. Yes. So first I will cut a piece, lay it over top, and then I'll buck that out. It's gonna need to be about, okay. That's a good start. I'm gonna go right to the corner, easy to metal finish. Yeah. Yeah. Here and here and there. Well, look at that. Grind that a bit square. Square. Just give me some straight edges. I am going to go over to the anvil and hammer that straight, so I'll shut down. It's not a very big patch. Pretty simple. There we have it. Quick mark around it. Zip that out. And we should be ready to put the new one in. Blast that up. It goes quick. Okay, I'm gonna get my other zip cut. Hopefully this one works. Let's see how it pops out. Well, we got a spot weld there. I can go get the red chisel. Yeah, that's all good. Oh, hey man, how you doing? Yeah, this metal is really good. Just got to clean it up, some light blasting. And as long as I cut that right, a new piece just drops right in. This, and I'm going to go to the drill press, and there was a few holes here, right? So I'm just going to mark those so I can weld them back where they were. That looks like about there, maybe there. Might as well add one there. Okay, so I'll drill this, blast that, and we'll be right back. Got to grind off the back where the drill went through. Grind off some of this. Where's my blaster? Whoop. Gotta fill this jug up. Get that up flat first. Get some more sand back in a minute. Okay, there we have it. Decided to take an easy one for a change. It's all got to be done. Whoop. Gotta turn up my heat for plug welds. Cool. So, push her down, make her flush. Not like that. Oh, okay. Okay. Right. Time to weld with my helmet on, I'd say. Whoop, I'm not doing plug welds anymore, so you turn it down. Nice. You break these big jobs down into little jobs, it's just way less overwhelming. So on floors where they're all welded to two different structures, two layers, you pretty much impossible to warp it. Not saying you couldn't, but you don't have to worry. You can see that's fitting just as it should. And you just keep going and going and going. You need to set some goals. The problem, working at home or on your own car, especially after dinner, after a good meal, guy tends to get lazy. So you need to push yourself. A little self-discipline, I guess. Overcut that line a little bit, so I had to weld it up. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so that didn't take very long. Now, if you have a bunch of those, yeah, it makes a lot more sense to replace the whole thing. You know, the next thing I might do, just because it's handy, is this is where someone had welded up an old 4-speed hole. You can see that's not that nice. I'll wheel out a new piece for that. A little bit of a compound curve. But I might do that next. I'm bouncing around a bit just because I'm getting my chops back. I'm liking this. When I grind this, it should be really smooth and a nice piece. That one up there, it's good. I could have come a little bit farther this way maybe, but that's where the factory has a big seam. I'm happy it's smooth. So I'll grind this up now and see what we got. Okay, rough grind it. I'll detail it with a small one. And then, that one's beat. And I can find, there it is. I'm not going to waste your time showing you the rest of the grinding. I'll show you when I'm done. But it's nice. I mean, you shouldn't have someone grind it if they didn't actually weld it, because we know the panel and what we did better. Someone else could grind it too thin quite easily, and so could we. But I'm being very careful here. I'm going to put on a new disc. I'll finish grinding it up and we'll have a look at it.